Welcome to On Point. I'm your host, Leighton Levy. 1993, the movie Cool Runnings came out, inspired by Jamaica's Virgin Run at the Winter Olympics in 1988. Since that time, in the last 30 years, Jamaica has gone from being a parody to something more serious, more professional in the world of bobsleigh. Today, we have as our guests Audra Segree, second brakewoman, and of course, Roland Reid, brakeman for Jamaica's four-man bobsled team. They join us as Jamaica begins its campaign for the 2022 Winter Olympics. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Point this week. Audra and Rolando, it's a pleasure having you both on.
Thanks for having us.
Almost in synchronicity. Anyway, let's start with you, Audra. The campaign has begun in the North American Cup. You guys have been doing well, a couple of fourth place finishes, a third place finish on Sunday. How have you rated your performances so far, of course, with Jasmine Fenletter?
Well, our performance has been great. We have challenges here and there, but we work through it and sort it out. And, at the end of the day, we're grateful that we were able to finish on the podium. So the start of the journey, I would say would be a great one. Mm-hmm. So far.
So far, because there's a journey to unfold before the qualification is finalized, and we're saying this as if to assume that Jamaica will qualify for the Winter Olympics next year.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about what is it that you've discovered from your early runs that you think will start to get better as the campaign rolls along.
Sorry about that. Based on our vibe or energy, we're getting things together earlier in the season, so we worked through all of that before. So going forward, we're just like cleaning up stuff, be more consistent, and putting in more effort and more, I would say, determination to always being in the top, so we can collect points, so we can be able to rank higher to go to the Olympics.
Before we get to Rolando, tell me a little bit about the qualification process. How do the points stack up, and how many points do you need to get, or what position do you need to be in to qualify for the Olympics?
I definitely can't say how much points we need to get, because we are split up. So you have NAC, you have World Cup. Mm-hmm. So I can't, and the European Cup. So I can't say points per se. But I think being consistent in top 5, top 3 should set us on the right path for the Olympics.
Okay,
in every race.
All right, fair enough. So let me jump to Rolando. No, I don't want you to feel left out. The four-man bobsled has been. This is where Jamaica got its beginnings. This was 1988. Of course, it's 30 years on. You guys now have big shoes to fill. Talk to me about what has unfolded so far. We've seen an 8th place finish, a couple of 7th place finishes, and a 6th place, if my memory serves me. How has the season begun for you guys?
Well, the season began when we actually met with the guys. So, of course, we're very diverse. We have some guys from England. The pilot, of course, he based in England as well. So I met with the guys in Lake Placid early September. And we have just been trying to work on pushing together and basically getting the start ready. Mm-hmm. And then the pilot will do the rest. But so far, the 8th place and the 7th place and the 6th place finish has been good, because that's quality points on the board. And it's a good start to the season.
How do you get faster, though? I mean, I'm sure you guys want to get up, higher among the rankings. How do you get faster? Because based on my limited knowledge of bobsleigh, the four-man bob is really challenging.
Yes. So we can get faster over different disciplines. So we can get a faster start, which did up the time as well. And the pilot can, maneuver along the course, and that will help with reducing the time to get it faster.
Let me start with you first on this one, Rolando, because
Okay.
I've had a conversation with Audra before, so I kind of have an idea of what she's going to say, but I'm going to ask her nonetheless for the benefit of our viewers. But what does it take to become a bobsledder? Because for me, pushing a heavy cart, a sled off of a hill on ice, running at close to 100 miles an hour, sometimes even higher than that, takes a certain level of insanity, I believe, to be able to do this consistently. Tell me a little bit about how that became a reality for you.
So, I was a sprinter, of course. Attended Monroe College and Morgan State University in Maryland. And I was big on lifting as well. I did some shot put, discus, and I did javelin at champs, one boys champs javelin. So my strength base was always there, and the speed was always there. 100-meter champs as well. So it's a bit of speed and strength, and also a little bit of insanity, of course. You gotta trust your pilot to take you down safely. So your job as a brakeman is basically to just get the sled going and get in on time, get settled, and the rest is up to the pilot.
Yeah, of course, being a 100-meter sprinter, the explosive nature of the bobsled is similar to the start of the 100, where you have to really push out hard. Is that an advantage for you, or is it something that the ice negates and the weight of the sled?
It's definitely an advantage, but however, you need some weight as well, because for me right now, I'm underweight. The guys kind of tease me about it every day.
So you're the light brakeman.
A light brakeman. So there's some weight requirement involved, of course, and as I said, I am light compared to what is required. Usually it's about 230 for a brakeman, especially if you're doing a two-man. So that way you can push a lighter sled per se, So for me, I'm pushing a heavier sled if I was supposed to be a two-man brakeman. And even as a foreman, we still have to add weight for me to make up that weight, minimum weight.
So how heavy are you now?
I'm actually 88 kilos when I have a lot of clothes on. So, and our biggest brakeman currently is 108. And that's the ideal weight, I would say.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to Audra now. Of course, Audra, we know you were a big thing at Champs, starring for Home and Technical and all of those, things, star status. Tell us a little bit about your transition into bobsleigh.
Oh, so my transition starts when it seems like the door for track and field was closing on me, I would say. A lot of injuries and, it's hard to really keep up with our fast girls in Jamaica, I would say. So, Coach Wayne reached out to me, 2014, 15, thereabout, to be a brake person. I didn't know much about bobsled then, but I did try for a week or two. And then I went back to track and field. I came back to bobsled for 2 weeks again in 2015, I would say. And then I was like, no, I need to focus on track and field. I can't be back and forth. So I just dedicated my time to track and field, and then it didn't work out the way I wanted to. So in 2017, Coach Wayne and Mr. Chris Stokes reached out to me and said, they're looking for someone to be permanent in the sport, and that person is me. And, Jasmine is on board, Carrie is already on board, and they're seeking a second brake person. So, being that I was thinking about leaving track and field, I said, okay, why not give it a go? And I did give it a go then in 2017. And we did make the Olympics for 2008. See, Sophia Cheng, first female, yes. So, yes, so they're moving from there on. I just, I developed a love for it, and I just stayed. Yes.
And then, of course, subsequently transitioning to the monobob, which is even crazier because you're doing this by yourself. Talk to me about that transition and how has it been going for you? I know you've been training really hard, and I've seen you on ice, and you don't look too bad. So talk to me a little bit about what's been going on there.
All right. So it was a skeleton and not monobob. Carrie is doing monobob and Jasmine is doing monobob.
Okay.
But it was skeleton. So after the Olympics, because of my weight, then I was light, so they wanted me to do the skeleton because I was so light. So, yeah, I tried the skeleton. I didn't like it at first because it looked scary, but I did try it, and I, developed a love for it. So I did it for 3 years, and then unfortunately I had to stop skeleton and return to the bobsled to be a brakewoman. So, yeah.
But why did you stop though?
It wasn't my decision.
Okay.
It wasn't my decision. It was because of funding, really. So, as you know, bobsled is a really expensive sport.
Very expensive.
So, bobsled and skeleton would cost like so much fund. So it was a really complicated decision, I would say, but decision had to be made. I wasn't happy with the decision, but I just have to work with it to move forward. So
it's about consolidating costs, huh?
Yes, So instead of we have to split the cost 2 ways, we just merge it into one and just try to work with that as best as possible.
Let me come back to you now, Rolando. Of course, preparing for a season is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of practice to ensure that you guys have, kind of synergy on the sled and everything. You guys are working out in Jamaica for a while. What was that like for you? I think you were working out by GC Foster, I think. Give me an idea of how the preseason was going.
That is correct. So we do a bit of work pushing at GC Foster. Thanks to Mr. Wilson for allowing us there. I also do some weightlifting by Express Fitness. Thanks to JT Fitness for the assistance every now and then. But it's a mixture. Do some sprinting by GC Foster, as well as we do some set pushing by GC as well.
Mm-hmm. So
that's the preparation.
So when you actually know, I think you guys are in Whistler, Canada, right?
Pardon?
You're in Canada currently.
No, actually in Utah.
Okay, you're in Utah. My bad. Okay, so I know you were in Whistler for a while. So what's the transition like? I want to hear from both of you on this. You're training in the background season in warm, wonderful weather, where things are normal for both of you, and then you transition to places where you can't drink water with a glass because it could freeze. What's been that adjustment like for both of you? Let me start with you, Audra.
Well, for me, I would say it's not so bad now. When I just started, it was horrible, I would say, because, cold and, so feeling the freezing that you're not used to, toes freezing, hands freezing, your eyes running water, face freezing, everything. It was like horrible. You just want to reach the warmest part just to stay warm, and jacket sometimes doesn't help. But now that I'm in the sport, I'm used to it. I know what to do. I know how to maneuver the cold, so it's not so bad now. But when I started, it was horrible.
How do you stay warm, Rolando?
Well, just layer up. I actually used to be living in the cold. I went to school in Maryland, so I have some experience with the cold and negative degrees. So it's not too bad. But bobsleigh cold is a different level. I mean, we're in the mountains majority of the time, and some negative. The worst I've experienced was negative 30 in Lake Placid, and at that time I was training for pilot, and I was literally holding the D-rings and just shaking all the way down. So it's something that you can adjust to, but at the same time, there's always going to be an experience where it's just beyond your control, and it's even tougher now that COVID is in place and we can't really get access to the warm house as much as possible. So majority of the time, if we're not sliding, we're outside, either helping with the sleds or just have to stay out because only the persons who are sliding are allowed in the warm house. So it's difficult but adjustable.
But since you can't feel your feet sometimes and your hands sometimes, does it affect performance? Because I mean, if you're pushing and you can't even feel your feet pushing off the ice, how do you get accustomed to that?
So there's a big thing called adrenaline.
Yes,
and that thing takes you forget everything.
Feel it is there.
Yeah, adrenaline takes control majority of the time.
Oh, so you just explode, and once you start, everything
just
falls.
Once you're on the line and you're going to go, nothing, you don't feel the toes, you just know you're gonna run fast. Once you're in the sled, and then
you're focusing on getting down.
Yeah, so you don't remember a thing until you cross the line. Trust.
So, Audra, you're working with Jasmine now. Where does Carrie Russell fit into this team? Because I know she had an injury where she had like 12 stitches that kind of delayed her preparation for the season. How does that work among the women? Do you alternate places, or give us a sense of how that works?
All right, so back in 2018, it was Jasmine, myself, and Carrie. And now Carrie is a pilot now. So we have Jasmine and Carrie as a pilot. So I break for both Jasmine and Carrie.
So
I understand.
So there are only 3 of you women, right?
4 at the moment.
Who's the 4th?
Sade Green.
Sade Green. That name sounds familiar as well. So, why doesn't she like work with Carrie and you work with Jasmine? I'm just trying to understand what the dynamic is.
It's what would I say? It mainly because like sometimes Carrie will do monobob and Jasmine will do 2-man. So one of us will slide with Jazz. No, just to give us a rest or a break, I would say. So it's good to alternate. So one of us get break. And then
to rotate.
Yeah. And then if Jazz is doing the monobob and Carrie is doing the 2-man, then one of us will just slide with Carrie.
All right, fair enough.
So it's like, rotate.
So Rolando, do you do the 2-man bob, or is just a 4-man for you? I
do the 2 as well. I do the 2. I actually did the qualifying rounds in Whistler. For Shanwing, and as I said, I am a lighter brakeman, so on most occasions they would choose the heavier guy because then the weight sits in the back of the sled, and it's a lighter sled to push for the pilot and the brakeman.
Tell me, do you guys have new sleds? I remember the last Olympics there were some challenges with the sleds that you have. Do you have new sleds now? Because I know they're very expensive, like $500,000, I think, US that they cost. Do you guys have new sleds now?
Yes, we do. So we have 2 new monobobs. That's the green one that you might see and the yellow one. And
there's a red new 2-man.
Yeah, 2-man. Red sled that we both the male and female use. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me something. Jamaica is one of 2 Caribbean countries that I'm aware of doing the bobsled. I think Trinidad also has a team out there competing.
Yes.
Is it extra motivation for you guys to do well so that we stay ahead of, when I say we, Jamaica stays ahead of our Trinidadian rivals? I mean, or is it more of a harmonious relationship where you're thinking we can both do this together? What's the relationship like between yourself and the Trinidadians, if there is one? Because I don't know if they're located in the same place as you are.
There is a male Trinidadian team, pilot Axel Brown, and he's also friends with our pilot, so there's a relationship there. And as usual, the Caribbean wants to conquer the rest of the world, so we're all going to work together. But at the same time, we got to remain the crown of the Caribbean, so we're going to try to stay on top, of course.
For sure.
Tell me something now. How important is it for you guys to make these Olympic teams? Because remember, at the outset I spoke about cool runnings, because I remember back in '88, Jamaica's bobsled team was more of a novelty. Huh? It was something that nobody's ever seen before, and of course, it inspired a movie. It's 30 years now, of course. Next year will be 29 years, I think, since the movie came up. But 1988 has been 34 years ago now, almost. Tell me a little bit about what it feels like now to be representing Jamaica at bobsled with the intention of going to the Olympics, and I'm sure with the intention of probably ending up on the podium. Let's start with you, Rolando.
Okay, so for me, growing up, always wanted to represent the country at the senior level, at the Olympics game, for track and field, that is. However, due to injuries, that wasn't possible. So this is my other dream of representing the country at the senior level and making it to the Olympic game. I've literally dedicated every single thing to this. Lost my job in the process.
Wow.
And I'm a new father as well. So that's a whole different thing. Giving up time with family just to make this dream a reality. So I have given it my all pretty much. So it's almost as if I have to make it happen. So I'm doing everything I can, pushing as hard as I can, sending runners when I need to, all the preparation for this.
What were you employed as before you lost your job?
So I actually was a teacher, economics teacher, teacher Cape back home. So that was my role. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Audra? I mean, this is your life as a senior athlete now. You know, tell us a little bit about what it means to you.
Well, it means a lot to me. Being that I was at the last Olympics, to being among the first female bobsledders of Jamaica, it means a lot to me and my country, and also to carry on the legacy of Jamaica bobsled, because I know where it's coming from. I know the person who started it, and I know what he went through to put us on the board as Jamaica, as a sport that is a winter sport to a tropical country. It wasn't an easy task. It wasn't an easy peasy task. So to be in this sport and to be able to carry on that legacy, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to the family, because I'm a part of that family, not by blood, but yes, I'm a part of that family. So it really means a lot to me moving forward. It means a lot for me, my community, because I know they look up to me. But, it brings them joy to see someone from their community, a little girl that they know used to run, now a bobsledder, something that is not known among Jamaicans like that. So it really do mean a lot.
I mean, we're setting the pace for the next generation as well. So the baton was passed on to us from the older generation, the Disney generation.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to continue that legacy and just to pass on to the next generation. I mean, we're all 30, 20s, 31.
I don't look like it though.
And I am inching closer to 30, so it's only a matter of time before we retire and pass on that baton. So we're doing all we can to keep Jamaica on the map and just to keep that legacy. It's pretty much a gem back then for the guys that started this legacy. So we got to do what we can to continue that legacy. Cool Runnings 2, hopefully.
Who knows?
2.2.
2.0 or 2.1. Tell me, do you think you guys have so far done enough to earn the respect of your competitors from more traditional winter sports countries, the Germanys, the Canadas, the United States, the Russias? Are you seeing where there's a greater level of respect now once you start to compete?
Yes, I would say yes, based on the fact that, as I said, it's a legacy. So once they see Jamaican rocked up, regardless of like our performance and everything, they do appreciate us. They do appreciate the fact that we came out, we're competing. I mean, even if we don't win, there are people coming up to us, can we take your picture? Can we take your picture? So, that means a lot. That means that we still do have a presence regardless. And we're still keeping that tradition going. So, yeah.
Yes, it's like everywhere we go, basically, we get that love and support. Like everyone is interested and just, are you really a part of the Jamaican bobsleigh team, So my experience in Lake Placid, just for the push session that I had this fall, I mean, every practice session we had like tons of people just on tour to actually see us push in the push house in Lake Placid. So that was a really good experience, and just to know that I'm actually an ambassador for Jamaica. And even being in Whistler at the start line, I noticed something like whenever Jamaica goes to that start line, everyone is like on board, just looking, cheering, and it doesn't matter what nation it is, they're always in support.
Yes.
Across the line, same thing. It doesn't matter what position we finish, it's the same results, like Jamaica on top, regardless.
And of course, for Audra, you were just on the podium on Sunday. What was that like for you?
Oh, that was ecstatic. I would say, yeah. I think it's my first race that I'm third. I think my last medal race was 6th. So being in the 3rd position now, I'm happy. I'm grateful. It shows that, we came and we give our all, and we did show up when we needed to. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thanks to Jasmine.
So you guys are in Utah now. What's the schedule looking like now in Utah? Because you were in Canada before. Have you raced in Utah yet? Or are you about to race in Utah?
No. So today is our first day in training, paid training. So we have paid training, and then we have official training. So the schedule is 3 days of official training, and then 2-man race and monobob.
Yeah. Monobob.
Yeah. Then break. Then we have 2 days off, and then we're
official training.
Official training. 1 day of official training, and then 4-man, and then 2 women. Yeah.
So this is what, next week, or this is later this week, or going into next week in terms of the official competition?
So the official training will be this weekend going into next week. So the first race is on the 23rd. That's 2-man and mono woman. And then the following day, so it's a back-to-back race. We have the 2-man and mono woman again. Then we have a day off, and then we have official training. And then we go into the 4-man and 2-woman on the 28th and the 29th.
Yeah. Okay. So
official training is almost like a qualification round. So we have to get down across the finish on the 4 runners in order to qualify for the race the next day, pretty much. So 2 solid runs. So if we don't cross on the runners, then we will be disqualified per se, and we won't get into the competition.
Whoa, interesting.
For that race, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're under a lot of pressure from the trial run, so to speak, than the official training.
Definitely, yes.
How confident are you guys? I mean, you did fairly well in Canada. Does this give you an additional boost now for Utah, for the sessions in Utah?
So my pilot, Jasmine Leighton Victorian, she is, I think this is one of her home track, so she's more confident on this track. She knows the track well, so I just think that she just needs training runs to just get that groove back, and then all should be well. So yes, looking for more podium finishing this next weekend. So yeah.
All right. So what about your Orlando 4-man team? Or what's your situation?
So my pilot is confident as well for this track, because it's similar to a track that he races a lot in Europe. So this is one of the tracks that he would just start from the top, because there's several starts. You could do a start 2, which is a lower start, and build up into it to get your confidence. But for this track, he is ready to go from the top. So I know he's really confident and ready to get us those additional points from this series. He actually wished this track we had 3 races and not 2, because it's a track that he actually likes a lot. So we're just going to try and make the best of the 2 runs that we have here. And hopefully we'll finish top 5 if possible.
Tell us the names of your team members, because we had this discussion, we talked about your team and nobody mentioned their names. Tell us a little bit about your team members, your names especially, that we can identify with them when we're watching, because Sportsmax is carrying the Winter Olympics.
Okay. Oh, All right, Sportsmax. So, pilot, Shanwayne Stevens. Brakeman, on the right, currently on the left, we have Ashley Watson. And I'm on the right, so which is Roland Reid. And then on the back, we have Matthew Wekpe. And addition to the team, we have Nimroy Thurgot, but he's currently in Jamaica sorting out some issues. And we have Wayne McPherson, who just joined us here in Utah yesterday.
Well, tell you what, guys, that pretty much brings us to the end of things today on Point. I want to thank you for joining us, and of course, wishing you all the best in Utah. Hoping to see you on the podium more frequently, Audra, and of course, Rolando as well. Want to see you guys holding those medals, as we saw Audra and Jasmine putting medals on each other's necks because they want to pick them up off of the podium. We saw that. So, we're wishing you all the best, and of course, fingers crossed that you make it to the Winter Olympics for 2022, and it will be on Sportsmax early next year when we're bringing the live broadcast of the Winter Olympics.
Yes.
Thanks for having us, and appreciate your Sportsmax. Thanks, Mr. Levy, for having us.
Thanks
and
for
hearing
the
our
support,
story.
guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
And thanks to GC Foster College.
Thanks, GC. Thanks, Mr. Wilson. And thank you, Jamaica. Thanks for the support.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Of course, Audra Segree and Rolando Reid there. That brings us to the end of On Point for this week. This is Leighton Levy saying have a good rest of the week. And, of course, enjoy the Christmas season coming up. And until next week, we'll be back again with more on Point.